Go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our final day of our summer kickoff. We're so excited to be here.
Who had the best airplane out of us, though?
Yeah, whose arms were
Mine
the
was
straightest?
broken as all hell.
Well, she's a talking plane, so that's pretty dope.
Yeah, you know,
That's kind of the best.
Thomas has his competition cut out for him for, moving, talking vehicles.
Do kids nowadays know what that is?
Oh, gosh,
Thomas
did
the
I
Tank
just
Engine?
date myself a bit?
How'd that happen?
No.
No. Scratch the tape. One thing I do want to acknowledge, though, is I loved getting a look at Next Level. It's always so great to get to hear directly from the pros, as well as our friend and Emily Rand.
Yeah, I love the fact that they were going straight blast from the past. The moment they started talking about go-for-alls, I was like, all right, I love hearing those stories, just like going straight back into the memory banks.
Yeah, I definitely sent out a DM to Will the other day, inviting him to my barbecue. He didn't reply, by the way.
Wow.
So when am I going to get invited to his show, you know? I'm feeling kind of left out as a teammate. Just because I trolled him in our first game we played together, made him go mid instead of jungle, doesn't mean I don't want to hang out with him or anything like that, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And on the point about our friend Emily Rand, I loved seeing Jat give big props to Emily. Emily, you're doing great.
Yeah, good work,
thumbs up.
Emily. But you didn't get invited to the show. That's why we have you here for the first day. Hi is joining us. We've got Primal again. We've got Raz, and we are ready to get things shaking. Let's shake a leg and dive right into our business that we have here at the top of our day, starting, of course, with what happened yesterday, namely TSM taking first place for the first time since 2018.
Yes, they're back, and they're doing it in the TSM way that we saw last split. They're like, we're just going to team fight every single game, and we're going to be the best team in the league at it. So I love to see them doubling down, adding a few more, spices and tricks with, PoE on some picks we don't normally associate with them. But I love to see TSM just leaning into their own style.
Yeah, and it felt like they started where they left off in terms of player skill. Sword Art on Israel, he is just such a damn good engaging force for their team. Going back to that team fight heavy mentality and being able to execute definitely helps. So TSM starting off on the right leg.
2-0 fashion for them to start. I know that they will obviously be looking to get the 3-0 this weekend. We do want to talk about some of the other teams. One that's also looking for the 3-0, though, is Immortals, and they were definitely looking good in their game yesterday.
I love Immortals right now because yesterday's game versus Golden Guardians, both of those teams coming off of major upsets the previous days, Immortals just looking like they came out of Kyoto Academy. I've been hearing about them scrimming for some time, during the break, while the other teams are going in playoffs this spring, and then, of course, coming back. So I was wondering what they would look like. I didn't expect them to look this damn good.
Yeah, they looked so good, and I do also want to shout out, again, the energy that they brought around them, because that is a team that is definitely hyped up about one another. We got more headlines, though, from Team Liquid and Cloud9, who do face off later today in our rematch of the Mid-Season Showdown Finals. Let's go ahead and get a preview of that matchup before we dive in.
Cloud9, they will take down their greatest rival in Team Liquid. And Cloud9 are your first ever mid-season showdown champions.
And we've just come full circle. It was these two teams that felt like they had been on this crash course to be battling at the top of North America.
Cloud9 took the LCS last year. They took it this year. They repped the LCS heading to the mid-season invitational by winning the mid-season showdown. They battled on our behalf. They battled on North America's behalf, but now it's time to defend the title and see how strong the players can play once again.
This is the time right out the gate where there will be the most uncertainty with the King substitution coming in for Sven.
Stun gonna be found out there. Perch wants in. They get the chase down. One auto will kill him a flash, and the chase in. King finds it. Stunned into the turret though, and he's gonna be locked down. He goes 1 for 1. That's not the kind of trade he wants. And maybe there is a chance. The Nexus turrets are gone, but King is onto the back line. FBI will drop, but does not flash away properly from the ult, and they will trade back too. Wasn't even close. 100 Thieves slaughter Cloud9.
Tactical and Core JJ, it feels like this is the most vulnerable they've been in a while because Tactical isn't having his best split.
Malphite sighting! Holy cow, Tactical just jumping in on top of 3. What was that? Because it wasn't the right move.
What is Tactical gonna do? Starting something up, Tactical's just destroying poor Smoothie here. Drellies as well, Flash Q's in, Tactical is gonna find the solo.
That's a tactical nuke right there.
Top laner Alfari has been subbed out for Jenkins.
We do need to talk about Jenkins, though. This guy actually has a pretty good resume. You know, in spring, he's the damage per minute leader and solo kill leader for Academy. They have a lot of confidence in him.
But the damage is not quite enough here. It's just Jenkins and Jensen making it happen. Jensen leaping in there, taking out POB. Team Liquid, they're going to roll in and finish off this Nexus. There is nothing left for CLG.
Cloud9 and Team Liquid face off in Game 3 today, and it should be an exciting match. C9 are looking for their first win of summer, and Liquid starting Jenkins once again.
And he is looking incredible. I didn't expect it because, of course, the previous days from that LCS game day, he was playing in Academy. So I don't even think they have an actual scrim with him. But when we saw him play, it looked like they were a well-oiled machine around him. They picked his GP into the Gwen, and then they supported it consistently, and he was able to just thrive off of that.
Right, and he's not in his final form yet. If you go back to his history, he used to be known as a Kennen one-trick, and we saw Kennen get picked yesterday, so once he busts out his Kennen, maybe he'll even get it better. So I'm looking forward to that.
A source of strength that did work out for them prior, and on the side of Cloud9, I'm sure Cloud9 fans are recognizing the fact that there may need to be some adjustments, though, from here on out with what we've seen from their play.
We have some dirt that we'll bring up on C9 later, but for right now, they're not looking too hot. You know, some people might even call their team Cloud9 at the moment.
Oh, no.
Or I say there's like a stock market, right? You're investing in Cloud9. I would not get out yet. I would still stay invested. But if today goes bad for them, maybe it's time to hit the abort and sell. I don't know.
No, I'm buying at the low, man, because at the end of the day, they're going to make playoffs for sure. You know, they're going to work out the kinks with whatever's going on. And there's a post-MSI hangover that we just have to account for. So overall, I wouldn't panic sell quite yet.
Yeah, what a huge hangover it is. Go playing the best teams in the world to playing NALCS. Is the NALCS team just better? That might be it, right?
All right. I remember the last MSI, it was the same thing. Short period for recovery, and it felt like every region except for G2. SKT went back to LCK, performed poorly in their first few weeks. Same happened for Team Liquid. Like, you know, same happened for the LPL representatives, that one. So, like, they will get back into the motions, especially with that change that they had with Sven versus King. So that's something to look forward to.
Another thing to consider, though, when we're looking at the fact that some of the results have been a bit shaken up from maybe what we predicted, is that all of the players are recognizing there's not necessarily an established meta, a lot more gut play that we are seeing come through.
Yeah, and what I love is that teams are saying, instead of reading the meta, we're just going to write the meta. We're going to pick the picks that suit our style. We have TSM drafting into losing lanes bottom and saying, it's okay because we're just going to win in team fights, and we know we're good at that style. We have 100 Thieves giving us different looks, you know, from what we expected given this roster of players. So overall, I like that we're in this unfigured out state for the meta.
And that always happens. It reminds me when we went into MSI. When you have just a big patch change, or slew of patches, honestly, that changes everything, you have the risk of confirmation bias based off of whatever happens during scrims. I know for sure, you know, CLG is a great example of like coming into it, thinking they can build a specific composition around Gwen, didn't work. Next day, they're like, okay, we're on blue side, we'll pick Gwen. Obviously weren't ready for the strategy that Team Liquid had in place. So a lot of teams for sure are just trying to figure things out.
While that is a trend we see across multiple rosters, I do want to dive a bit larger into how 100 Thieves is handling this metalist meta that we have on our hands, because their newest member, Abadage, faces one of North America's hottest prospects on Dignitas QNTMPAY's mid laner, Soligo.
Right, and I'm excited for this matchup because being a previous mid laner myself, I want to say mid lane is a role that gets imported the most, more often than not. So Soligo here, one of the best NA mid laners we have currently, and Abadage is coming in. He has to make a name for himself, right? He's eating up an import slot. He has to come in here. He has to show that he's worth that slot. Otherwise, we can just use an NA mid laner, right? But I think he might have his matches taken up for him because I think Soligo has been playing really well. Abadage has only played Karma twice. I watched pro review for both of his games. I'm not impressed, but at the same time, it's a Karma. There's only so much you can do with Karma. She's a really boring laner to play and play verse. So today, I'm hoping to have some exciting matchup. Maybe like an Akali versus like something exciting like a Zed. That's not gonna happen, but
Yeah.
I might be biased
Keep
towards
dreaming.
Zed.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I would love to see that too, but we also have to acknowledge that this has been working. for them, right? Like we heard Abadage say in his interview, hey, they've been playing carry jungle and more supportive mid in scrims, and that's what they showed us yesterday with the Xin Zhao pick giving them the damage that they need to make this Karma pick worth it. So I would love to see Abadage on something else, a control mage or something that we normally associate him with, or something that we're excited to see. But overall, if it ain't broke, don't fix it for now.
That's what I liked about the second draft rather than the first draft. The first draft with the Udyr, I mean, at that point, it's going to be really difficult. You have to really get an early game lead. Second draft with the Xin Zhao, a lot easier to play around. Hey, in the future, you would expect more carry junglers like a Kindred as an example to work around that. I think in the end, it kind of lines up with the 100 Thieves identity, playing for closer, being more focused on the early game and mid game. And if you fall off, well, you should have gotten the job done earlier. Right? So, like, it makes a lot of sense for him. But you're going up against, Dardoch in that one. So I think that it's going to be a really exciting matchup between two of these players.
Dardoch really coming through the gate strong and has been mounting these wins for his team.
Right.
Yeah. Go on.
Oh, Dardoch is a very interesting player. You watch his pro view, he starts typing in all chat. That can either be a blessing or a boon for your team. I'll leave you to decide which one it is. I don't know if I'd like my teammate typing in all chat during LCS games. But, you know, it makes the game fun, and we're looking for excitement in our games. And Dignitas is doing that. They're taking so many fights, and their attitude, I love it.
The confidence is working out so well for them. I know in game one that they had with the Lee Sin, that was one thing. They were scrappy to get back into the game. In game two, incredible from Dardoch. Yeah. And also on top of that, just being able to read FlyQuest what their game plan was going to be, being there in the bot side of the map, knowing that enemy jungle was going to be there, just getting the counter gank and forcing that. And then, yeah, he didn't get quite to that 25 Majai stack, but he was so damn close to it. I really am looking out for this jungle matchup between Dardoch going up against Closer.
Yeah, and I love that Dardoch is doing all of this while continuing the A to Z jungle challenge. So we'll see how far he goes with it this split.
Can we get a Fiddlesticks or a Mumu? Please play a Mumu. I'll be so happy.
Oh, don't do that.
You might not win the game. I'm sorry, but it's so fun.
There are a lot of Dardoch fans out there that have been rewarded. I'm curious to find out if they're rewarded today in our match that we are ready for. So let's go ahead and hand it over to Flowers and Kobe as we get into game number 1.
Thank you very much, Latigris. I am Captain Flowers. This is Kobe, and we are here for the first 3 games of the day. This first of which has 2 teams that are coming in hot after day 2.
They certainly are. You know, 100 Thieves, they did lose the opening game for themselves, yes. But I like that they stuck to their strategy. They're like, you know what? We've done our research. This meta has supportive mid and carry jungler as a very strong strength. And even after losing game number 1, and everybody's like, the hell are you doing putting Abadage on Karma? First Karma game ever? Are you crazy? And they're like, yes, we are. And we're going to do it again.
Crazy enough to make it work, which they did.
We're just that crazy. And then, yes, they stomped the second game. So both teams are coming in, off very good openings. Dignitas, a much cleaner game for them in their second game, and they're 2-0 so far in summer. So Dignitas are actually right now tied for second place. If they win this game, they're going to move up to be tied with TSM for straight first place of the North American LCS. I don't even know how far back. We have to go talk to Skara to get back to the Dignitas times where they were.
Somebody get Skara on the phone. What does Skara have to say?
Skara.
Somebody call Skara right now. All right, we're into the draft. Let's see how it goes. Will we continue to see this strategy that we've already seen twice from 100 Thieves? Are they going to switch it up? Will Dignitas be willing to ban the Karma away? Do they respect it? Do they think it's a big deal? Well, first off, Senna will get banned out. This champion is pretty much perma-banned these days, as Callista will be banned out by 100 Thieves as we move forward.
Yeah, we've seen the other AD carry along with Senna and Callista that usually finds his way onto the ban list has been the Varus. I personally think that Varus right now is incredibly strong because my favorite, most turbo broken item right now, the Muramana, he builds that if he goes a lethality build. Ezreal as well, another abuser of it. So there's definitely a lot of options in the bottom side of the map. AD carries, for both these guys is going to be a really intense matchup. So I'm curious to see how deep they go on that particular role with these bans. Already you're seeing them branch out some of the solo lane ones here. Even though Lucian is an AD carry, it's definitely a solo lane ban there. You're happy to see Udyr on the ban list?
I'm so sick of him. Do you know how many of Skarner's items get nerfed because of this guy having a run-stun job done? I'm sick of him. Somebody just bonk him over the head one more time with a nerf bat and get rid of him for good. Renekton will be our final ban here from 100 Thieves in the first half, along with Lee Sin. And as Dignitas prioritize the Rumble pick for themselves, it's Gwen over on the side of 100 Thieves.
Yeah, that's what I want to jump on here. As soon as we're up to the last bans here in on 100 Thieves side, they leave Gwen up thinking, hey, you're going to just instantly go for this. Every top laner wants their hands on Gwen. It's so relaxing to be able to play this champion. Yep. Level 1, scale your E, just charge down almost any opponent. Regardless though, Dignitas actually choose for the jungle. And this is, if I hadn't seen yesterday, I would be kind of mind blown right now, but Dardoch's Rumble yesterday.
So good.
My man.
9-1-9 or something like that?
That
Really
was
impressive.
a roasting, okay? That was definitely a roasting. So I definitely have full faith there in Dignitas with their lock-in. The Ezreal that I mentioned before, also benefiting from the recent items. Very tanky AD carry. Ezreal's already known for being one of the most mobile, and self-peel is very easy for this champion. But when you have the changes to the items with Sunderer getting super buffed, Muramana being in a very strong state, and then also Frozen Heart getting buffed, then that mana and those mana stats get to turn into damage as well. Really like this bottom lane as well.
So the 100 Thieves composition has Gwen plus 2 of the important pieces of what you were talking about with that supportive mid laner and the carry jungler. Remember that yesterday in their match against Cloud9, the final scores of these two players who were on the exact same champions, Abadage went 0-1-15, almost the perfect support scoreline, while Closer went 7-1-7 on the Xin Zhao. They know how to use these champions together.
They did also have a little bit of help. So I seem to remember some Crocodile just running into this.
Yeah, Perk's doing his best Grubhub cosplay didn't exactly hurt their chances of succeeding with these two.
The Crocodile meal was on sale that day.
Yeah, 20% off. And
Free
buy one,
delivery.
get 7 more free. Doesn't really matter too much when it's like that, but let's see how the rest of the draft will go. Varus, Thresh, Chase, Nocturne, all manned away. And now we'll get to see the Kog'Maw locked in for 100 Thieves.
Okay, so the Kog'Maw option here. Previously had gone with the Varus. Varus gets banned out. Guess what? Going with the Kog'Maw does have an interesting, synergy there with the Karma as well. Not only are you buffing up the Gwen and the Xin Zhao diving forward, but guess what? It's going to be always nice to have that extra speed and shield on the Kog'Maw as well. So this is looking like a lot of good options for 100 Thieves, because Xin Zhao very good early game power for the jungle, and whenever I see Rumble jungle locked in, I want the other team to try and invade him early. Try and upset the early jungle clear, especially with the nerfs to Rumble, doing a bit less damage to blue buff, red buff, the things with high health. Oh,
yeah, we got
get
Darius
another one
in the
here,
win.
baby. Talk about early game, Flowers.
Yeah.
Talk about some early game. You want a strong lane. The Darius is locked in. I guess we can keep it open until they're done trading with, there's the tiniest of possibilities that you can flex Darius to jungle because they buffed it.
They made the monsters bleed more.
But that percentage is like 0.0001. So Fate God, high probability going with the Darius into Gwen. And I want to see if this is one of the very few champions that Gwen cannot just level E and then charge you down, because E, 40% attack speed boost, plus your on-hit damage, plus the dash. Usually in many of these matchups, Gwen players from the start can go aggressive.
Plus she takes Ignite.
Exactly. Previously, we saw, okay, one of the answers for, has been the GP, which Gwen actually won't go aggressive early on, can decide to fight or give up wave pressure. And we've had multiple of them give up the wave pressure. I think versus Darius, that's one of the beefy boys. You probably also are going to have to make that choice. So I'm so excited to see Fate God, especially Fate God, who has had time on this champion, how 100 Thieves, excuse me, not Fate God, someday, that was quite a while ago, will be able to, reestablish himself, because someday in the opening game on the Wukong, definitely had some blunders, but really made up for them yesterday with his Gnar play, getting that solo kill, and riding that to victory.
And I like what you mentioned earlier about how these two teams both have a chance to really have a big win here. Dignitas being at the top of the table with the win. If 100 Thieves take this victory, they are now tied with Dignitas in the standings. Both these squads having a chance to make a real splash here in week number 1. Darius versus Gwen, I can't wait to see.
Yeah, I mean, we came in super hyped for a bottom lane matchup, but now I'm just super hyped for Fake God versus Someday. You know, going against, yes, it's been a while, but Someday and Fake God exchanging spots on 100 Thieves, and Fake God always looking up to him.
And so someday we're seeing the flash. We're seeing the flash Gwen instead of the ignite Gwen. So this shows me that Someday's not willing to just fight him straight up.
And we hit our .01, Flowers.
We did.
The Darius.
We got the Darius. We got the Rumble.
Jungle.
It is Darius in the jungle with Rumble top. Someday taking the flash on the Gwen. So again, being a little bit more respectful than that ignite pickup there. Just making sure that everything else looks about par for the course here. Yup, standard stuff. Cleanse on the Kog'Maw compared to the heal on Ezreal. 100 Thieves are going for an invade, but it doesn't look like they'll find much other than the opportunity to set down some vision. Closer does come pretty close to this brush here. So, Kobe, I'm going to ask you, if you don't have the answer, it's okay. What do you know about Darius jungle?
I know that he has no, like, his ganks are not effective unless you have flash.
Okay.
Or some people actually opt to run Ghost with him because of that fact and the low cooldown on Ghost. And then you just kind of run into lanes that have CC set up for you. But he is very hard to fight off of stuff. So we were looking in Champs, like, remember I was like, oh, when I see a Rumble jungle, I want the team to invade them. 100 Thieves do invade, but it's not even Rumble in the jungle. It is Darius in the jungle starting top side, and it's 100 Thieves actually splitting the map here, taking away off of bottom side so they can have that, you know, Kog'Maw Braum lane. Effective start.
Instant gank into the mid lane coming out from Closer. He passes from enemy red straight to mid. Take the free flash from your opponent. Easy stuff.
So there are not a lot of tricks to Darius jungle. You pretty much just want to leash your camps close to the outside of the patience range as you possibly can to get to the next one, and getting your bleed onto all of them. Yes, you want to hit at the end of your axe, but that's nothing special. Darius always wants to do that. So Abbedagge here, back to the mid lane matchup after that early gank from Closer. And this again, they did see the invade and the red buff steal. They got pushed out of this side of the jungle. So it was actually a very efficient gank there from Closer, just red over to his red side, making sure he can get that 3 quadrant on Dardoch. But look at this. Sometimes when you have those restrictions, you're forced into a gank, and here comes Darius jungle.
Let's see what he can get done here. Already getting the flash out of the enemy support, and this should be a kill. Who he very, very low on the HP, and with the bleed coming out, there's no way he stays alive, and they make sure they give the kill over to Neo.
Neo flashes in for that one with the potion ticking. I don't think the bleed was going to take him down, so they get the gold on the right place. The AD carry here. And again, remember, biggest strength of Ezreal is the items. So getting your early money here, funding this build for Neo is going to be huge. Plus, Dardoch, you know, forcing this gank. Let's see if they can get anything out of FBI here. He has Flash and Cleanse.
Yeah, he's got both summoners, so should be able to get out of this. There you go. Flashes out, cleanses away, but he's pulled right back in. Both summoner spells used and a kill still acquired, but now backup has arrived. 100 Thieves looking for the kill on the enemy AD carry, and they found it, but now we're in a 3v3. Aphromoo about to die next, but the wind will not become lightning in time. Abbedagge trying to get himself away here, but a lot of damage coming down. 2 kills over onto the side of 100 Thieves as they push back Dardoch. He's forced to retreat. 3-3 game, 3 minutes in.
Every Dignitas game is a party, Flowers. We don't have time to spend on each crazy aspect here, but the repeat gank from Dignitas draws out 2 teleports. 100 Thieves not going to let them continue to focus on this bottom side of the map. Really good double teleport answer immediately. Honestly, though, let's see here with this opening, Aphromoo gets the stun off just as the flash goes through. So then even with the cleanse there's nothing left for FBI. Split second difference. You know, if he flies a tiny bit earlier there, doesn't let the stun get off, or you know, cleanses and then doesn't you know, get the extra range for getting yoinked back by Dardoch, that could have been even slightly better for 100 Thieves, but still good for them to get the counter. And guess what, Flowers? The money went to Gwen.
Oh yeah.
2 kills now on that Gwen. We're going to get to see Someday on one of the strongest top lane champions.
Okay, Hex Flash coming out from Closer. Lands the W. He'll go to sleep before he gets the 3rd hit for the knock-up. The root goes through, but Closer does not want to go underneath the turret to pursue that kill. Doesn't have his normal flash, so there wouldn't be really any way to do it anyway. I like how active we're seeing both junglers be. There's no just path around and make sure your camps are spawning on Q. No, it is gank, gank, gank.
Looks like they all had their caffeine start to the day today.
You love to see
And
it.
they're going to keep up that pressure. Xin Zhao working with the supportive mid. This is one of the biggest things we want to try and highlight for this combination. That's also why I like actually taking inspiration second, which is fairly rare on junglers, but because Closer goes inspiration second, gets the Hex Flash, this champion that relies so much on a lot of early pressure and early effectiveness in lanes, does get to do off, Hex Flash ganks and more pressure here to push in that mid wave so you can really play off that synergy of the two and then move into control jungle. Here's another Hex Flash though. Afromoon wants to come try and even the numbers.
And I really like to see Hex Flash on champions that don't have a built-in ability to dash over a wall without a target, right? Yeah, Zen can use an E over the wall if you're standing on the other side of it, but this just opens up so many new pathways for him, really lets him shine there in those early ganks.
And with the extra range of W, it's like you actually have a tremendous reach, especially around mid lane. Hex Flash out of the brush, plus if you hit your W, then you can get the 1100 range dash follow-up. So definitely want to play very offensive with this champion. Early and often is the name of the game for those ganks from Xin Zhao. He does that. Top side is also going to start to get pushed in here. You see Someday, off of the early kills from bottom side, really trying to make use of that pressure. Anytime I have a top laner who can push in waves like that, Flowers, you love to see it. Taking that time to go invade the enemy jungle. As a jungler, I want my whole team with their efforts, I
want them to ward the enemy's stuff. I want to make sure that they're keeping an eye on the dude. I want to be able to track them. It's a team effort. And there's an I in team because I need wards.
Very true. Plus, Gwen is also well positioned to try and fight enemy junglers, at their buffs and stuff like that. Dardoch, though, on the Darius, has cruised to a quick level 6 here. And is trying to establish some of this jungle pressure off of the beat up the bubble lance.
Nicely done. Let's see if they can set up the rest of the kill here. Should be no problem. Closer taken very low, and Dardoch just dunks him. Let's see it.
Dardoch and the jungle ocean here with the Darius. Bubble is a perfect setup, Flowers. You're going to wake up from your nap to the edge of an axe chopping your head off, as well as getting yoinked in by the Apprehend immediately after. That sets up Dragon for Dignitas. Really, really good job trying to snowball this ahead. Abadage continues to try and punish Saligo here in the mid lane. And even though we're constantly seeing Saligo get ganked and have the waves pushed in on him and get harassed down to 100 HP here, he still has been able to scrounge up that CS. So there hasn't been a super detrimental lasting effect. Yes, they got one turret plate off of constantly pushing in and all these Xin Zhao ganks, but Saligo is doing decently well for himself, still at least keeping close in that CS under all the pressure.
And that difference in jungler levels was what could have been the difference between Closer living there or not. If he did have his ulti, remember he hadn't damaged the Darius. He could have tried to disengage with the Crescent Sweep, but coulda, woulda, shoulda, doesn't matter. When the Zoe bubble finds the target, it means free money. Let's see where our teams are going to aim next here. You can see Dignitas bringing some bodies up here to the northern side river. They're checking around, seeing if maybe they can find any wards, but both of those wards around the pit from 100 Thieves will stay there. Checking in on the state of top lane. The farm is pretty even, but those 2 kills for Someday still going to make sure he has a slight gold lead.
And because of the champ select, this game is going to remain volatile. If we're looking at, predicting the next few minutes here, you've got your supports looking to roam around with these junglers. You already saw the amount of damage that you can bring and the follow-up when you have this Darius, but if Darius has some setup with Zoe bubbles, with Leona roaming with him, Afromu, you already saw him trying to get as much time as he can, linking up with Dardoch, and adding that extra range threat to actually pull off some of these picks. The same thing can be said for 100 Thieves on the Xin Zhao plus Braum, because Xin can land your W, get that ranging, get the slow, and if Braum even follows up with the range Q, passive added on, now you've got the 3-hit knockup from Xin, plus then you have the passive stun coming in from Braum, so a lot of opportunity for those who want to take it. And those that actually can work around the vision, getting in there first. Dardoch is now first around behind Someday.
Dardoch trying to close enough distance here to pull him back. Now, Once that Darius gets that stride breaker completed, remember, this is such a huge power spike for the champion, alleviates one of his designed weaknesses very effectively and makes it so simple for him to engage on targets from a distance. So that's one thing that 100 Thieves will have to be very aware of. Dignitas now bringing Soligo over to Dardoch. They'll bring Fake God down as well. 100 Thieves do not seem to want to let them take this Rift Herald for free. They will see it about half HP right now and have to decide whether or not they want to go in to try to fight this. Dardoch eating the second part of the win becomes lightning. There's your bubble. Doesn't look like it's going their way so far, though, until Closer goes too far in. He's going to be killed immediately. Sumday's able to swoop in, grab a return kill on the enemy jungler now, as Afromoo tries to provide the CC while the rest of the team shows up. Someday continues to lead the charge, as He tries to find a little bit more CC, and they continue the chase. 100 Thieves looking for the last little bit of damage they're going to need onto the AD carry, onto the support. FBI without enough mana to find the artillery here one more time. Neo gets away. He continues zoning. The fight is 100 Thieves favored now. They managed to kill the enemy top laner. They've got better health on everybody else.
And that was a huge commitment from both teams, Flowers, because they know this game is so volatile and so close. Thinking that they can win it, committing everybody up here. Look at the opening, though. Because Closer gets focused down, even inside his ultimate, guess what? Everybody melee in there, gets the first kill. They've got the collapse. And someday on Gwen, you see on the top of your screen, with the W down, can zone off 2 players, allowing the rest of 100 Thieves coming in to clean up the remnants of the Dignitas members trying to join in on this fight, evening it up to 1-for-1, but more importantly, establishing control over the map afterwards so they can then clean out these wards for the reset and setup. We do come into a pause.
Oh, no.
And we finally get a moment to breathe, and we can go back down through the checklist of all the interesting matchups that we do have here.
Yeah, this game is delivering so far. 9 kills in 10 minutes. Both teams showing up, making plays, responding well to plays. This is what I want to see to start off the day, buddy.
I definitely do, Flowers. It's been really, really funny because, setting up the possibility of these flex picks, there's so many times where, like, I feel like I'm being boring mentioning, oh yeah, but this champion could be flexed
There's
into the jungle.
such a small chance they could try it.
Exactly. But then we get the actual payoff here, and some further reasoning behind the Darius, in the jungle there too, is because Xin Zhao is so prided on the early dueling power and the early effect in ganks on lanes and the threat, because usually it's, hey, if Xin gets on you, most people are going to lose that duel. Darius is the meat man, is the stat
The
stick.
meat man. That's okay. New name for it. The meat man has arrived in the jungle, and he is not going on a vegetarian diet, brother.
Get him a butcher skin as well, right there with Olaf. Make an entire theme. These champions that will fight you toe to toe, will fight you, in those attempted duels on those scuttle crabs, right down to the last second. Looking for those big axe plays. But I really do like how they've actually utilized it here. One of the weaknesses of Darius Jungle and why it doesn't get played quite so much in solo queue is because in solo queue, you can't create as much for your team.
Right.
You are lacking in that mobility that most junglers that thrive in solo queue really have to punish with. Exactly. So you're the ones creating most of the time. But in the pro play here, where they can actually coordinate well, with other CCs, the bubble we saw displayed, the Leona trying to move around with him, that adds the threat that you need to actually get within range of people, and then you can see the effectiveness there. That being said, on the side of 100 Thieves, when we were going all googly-eyed for them getting Gwen on the top side for someday, now we also get to see that, at this Rift Herald fight, as he comes down, he's able to zone off multiple people, racking up these early kills for Gwen, being able to get to your Rift Maker very quickly and move towards your Nashers where you can really chew through people in these team fights. You want to keep track of so many of these tools with both Xin Zhao and Gwen that are zones that force your opponents to have to come melee of you, very close to you to be able to kill you. Do reduce the effectiveness of some of the range advantages that you want to make use of later into the game. All coaches and analysts now highlight so much. Anytime there's a range advantage on one team, because, towards the mid and late game, it's such a big thing in setting up for these objectives. It's such a big thing in how you fight these team fights. And Gwen, as a new champion, and one of the things she does so well is circumvent that, because of the W. And one of the things, when you're looking at good and great Gwen play, that differentiates those from just the average, the button mashers, is your spacing on your W. And you can actually even immune some melee champion auto attacks if you space it correctly and you W and you E dash towards the end and you use your extra range that your E dash gives you for your auto.
Yeah.
To be able to,
There's some real outplay opportunity there.
Exactly.
Like, people, I know that everybody likes to say new champion super overpowered, and I would say that Gwen is definitely on the overpowered side.
Why?
But why is she overpowered, and how can you flex the skills required to min-max the champion even if she is broken in her current state? So what we're looking at right now is I want to see both these teams continue to play aggressively. The game state is still so close that either one of them can still take the driver's seat. I don't feel like anybody in particular has said, okay, I'm the one that's going to be making all those first choices.
They're
so
both
far.
trying to get in the driver's seat right now.
They're fighting over the wheel.
One cheek for each of them is in the driver's seat.
You could have said one hand on the wheel, but you had to go with one cheek in the seat. All right, we're back into the game. Let's see it here. 200 gold separates them, one Drake apart. Second Drake spawning here in just over a minute. The Rift Herald is up and alive. Let's see if we're going to get a fight forward here yet again. Dignitas, first ones over to the scene. They got a 4-man play. Neo has been brought up. Remember that FBI is in the bottom lane.
Yeah.
Considering this information, I don't see 100 Thieves choosing to fight for this.
FBI's hungover from the last party at Rift Herald. He is not coming to this one. And that is both teams recognize this. You know, Kog'Maw, it's not like they're going to give up a lot in giving up this Rift Herald because Kog'Maw does get to push the wave all the way up to the turret, is going to start hitting, you know, these turret plates, mining some gold for himself. Meanwhile, though, with the swap, it should be a dig first turret, you know. Dardoch getting first advantage there on the Rift Herald, should be able to pop it after they take down. 2 turret plates by hand is the general marker you want to go for because then your DPS as the Rift Herald is being summoned and charges up or winds up the animation on the Rift Herald charge, allows you to take off the last turret plate by hand. Then your true damage finishes off the last 2 that are most tanky, and you can basically one-shot and get that first tower bonus for your team. See if they actually might be a little bit behind in the DPS, so they're gonna have to do a little bit of extra damage, but you know, someday here gonna have a difficult time dissuading them from finishing this objective, and Dignitas get to roll their early game plan ahead quite effectively. Dragon number 2 about to spawn as well, so they finish up the top turret in time to make a rotation if they want to, but they're going for a deeper invade.
Yep, looks like they're just going to keep a lot of their forces focused on this top half of the jungle here. Neo will be the one to continue to push the wave while his buddies in Dardoch and Aframu shadow him through the jungle there, sitting down some vision, removing some of the enemy vision. You can see 100 Thieves have decided they're going to abandon this part of the map. Nobody's on the whole bottom half, so they're just saying, okay, Closer, you can solo that Drake down. Even up this Drake count here should be fine. As long as nobody gets caught here in the top side jungle, they'll just trade that. Now, who he's stepping forward, however, he's going to find 2 enemy players instead of just 1. Sumday's jumping in now, looking to keep the fight going. Holy moly, look at the damage. Someday already grabbing 1, making 2. Double kill over to Gwen as Fake God tries to get away. You've got the chase continuing here on the left, as well as Saligo's going to get hunted down by the living artillery. A little bit more damage coming in there, and Dignitas just got caught, man.
Oh my goodness, it's the dream setup, Flowers. Huhi with this Braum catches both of them in a line, and that is what you don't want to happen versus Gwen, because Gwen, you know, the biggest thing about Gwen is the true damage and the, you know, in the center of her snip. So look at Huhi, lines them up, gets the stun here onto Dardoch. Sumday's able to collapse. Then when they jump right next to each other, it is also FBI and Abadage just AoE wombo on both of them, instantly deleted. 100 Thieves counter this attempted jungle pilfering very quickly, slaps their hands. You have been found. You have been found guilty here. 100 Thieves immediately just retake the gold lead. What a balloon here.
21-48, the damage coming out of Gwen. Now, I know a lot of people out there, a lot of people in the League of Legends community absolutely hate playing against Darius. And if you're one of those people, don't be afraid to go back, clip that, and play it anytime you're feeling sad. Because I've never seen Darius die faster than that in a game of League of Legends.
Yeah, honestly, now we've got a 5-0 Gwen as well. Yes, yesterday, you know, CLG got it, and it did not look remarkable, did not have this big effect.
Yeah.
But that was not a champion thing there. So, honestly, Someday with the early kills, plus now getting a couple of the last hits off of this jungle defense here. Again, the middle of your scissors with the true damage, also applying the passive, it just does so much, and there's so much mobility on this champion, being able to stick to you and reposition to make sure that you hit the middle of your scissors, that it's going to be so incredibly difficult to deal with, because there's no like, what's your backup game plan versus a fed Gwen, Flowers? And, you know, with a W, it's so difficult because usually you're like, okay, most fed carry, we need to throw all our CC at him, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you have to get right in next to her, in between the W to be able to...
kind of where she wants to be.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for you, in a situation like that, Equalizer used in the bottom lane just to make sure that the minion wave's going to get cleared out as effectively as possible. And when we're looking at the items coming online here, you do have the Stride Breaker for the Darius now, Gore Drinker for Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao is one of the champions, I think, that has some of the biggest build diversity in the game right now. You see a lot of different type of stuff. Solo queue, it's more of like Eclipse or Immortal Shield Bow.
Yeah.
Here, a professional play, we saw a Frostfire Gauntlet before. This is the same build that Closer used yesterday, which was Gore Drinker into the Sterix Gauge, likely to be next. Makes him pretty tanky, gives a lot of pseudo-survivability through the lifesteal there, as we're going to see 100 Thieves rotate multiple people into mid lane. However, Dig has a lot of bodies nearby as well. Remember, Kobe, it only takes one fight where you don't properly focus Darius for him to go to Reset City, and that is a problem for anybody on the other side.
Yeah. Good use of the speed there by Abadage. It is always hard to hit people with your Leona ultimate that do have their own innate speed buffs, so, you know, ultimate traded there. And the mantra is very, very short cooldown. So
yeah, not that big of a deal.
Super happy to trade that one out. No harm, no foul there. Now, as we get a kind of reset moment here to look at the lane assignments and throwing this out, the biggest point is going to be where they do expend this Leona ultimate, because the Leona ultimate and the bubble are how Dig try and retake control. They were in such a good spot until they invested so heavily in that red buff invade and gave over all those kills, resulting in this giant slingshot here for 100 Thieves. So what they need to do is try and find picks on 100 Thieves away from Gwen, away from Someday. There's no teleport ready on this Gwen, so as soon as you see the lane assignment from Gwen, bing, ding, right now on your ward here through the jungle, try and make a pick with your Leona elsewhere on the map so you don't have to deal, with playing against this 5-0 Gwen. Here's how you imagine playing against it. Let's go elsewhere and make a pick with our Leona or with our Zoe bubble.
And one thing I want to point out here is Abadage once again here, 100% kill participation, 0 deaths on the mid lane Karma, and while Closer isn't having that fantastic of a carry game on the Xin Zhao, he's only 1-3-4. I really like seeing this mid lane Karma when you have more of a hyper carry AD like the Kog'Maw, compared to what happened on day one when they played it and they had the Ezreal. Really not a big fan of the supportive mid laners when you have the Ezreal in bottom lane, but having a Kog'Maw like this, that means you still have something else to play around as you scale forward into the game. We've got a lot of people here in mid. 5v5 staring each other down. Bubble finds its way onto Huhi, but that's not really the target they want. Ulti comes out, but the Braum ult's not going to get much of anything. Trading it away for a Stride Breaker with a 20-second cooldown.
Yeah, Braum ult is always best used as a kind of counter engage there.
Yeah.
Since the travel time is quite lengthy, it's hard to use it as your primary engage, and that's going to be a big cooldown. Maybe Dignitas try and find their way back in on this one. You see Dardoch on the front lines. Aframu here is ready to go.
All right, the Equalizer's been summoned up. It's going to be slain by Dardoch instead, but 100 Thieves will look to take the fight. They push forward, already killing off the enemy jungler, and Somedays looking to take it even further. He'll be drowsy, but it will not matter. There's no time to get the rest of the damage after the sleep. They won't be able to chase anyone else down. So Dignitas, they do manage to steal away that Drake from 100 Thieves, but they lose their jungler as the cost.
Yeah, this Darius just keeps getting blown up here in the aftermath. You see Someday as well immediately flashing, dashing forward, trying to get as many more as they possibly can. This is going to result in 100 Thieves pushing down not only mid tower, but Someday's also on the bottom of the screen, pushing out bottom lane so they can open up for pretty free resets for themselves to grab these control wards. And then you just have one last outer turret before you start to get the opportunity to starve Dignitas of their jungle camps. Closer and Abadage wasting no time counter jungling this blue, and they're going to have to reset before they get any more.
Okay. Also, one important thing to notice in terms of the item power spikes, supportive mid laners, you get to have that lower cost item. Never mind, we're going to talk about a replay instead. Here's how the fight went down. There's your steal, but then...
Yeah. He's able to walk up. Dardoch can walk up just in his smite range, gets the smite steal. Then all he has to get out is a Stride Breaker, though, and does not flash out afterwards either, tries to go for the fight. But with 100 Thieves moving up, and you have the Braum unbreakable wall in front, so there's not a lot of return damage options there. And they get the 1-for-1. You kind of have it's kind of a steamroll effect, as then they just get to charge forward with this Karma speeding up Xin Zhao and Gwen, both of which, by the way, heal a tremendous amount because of their passives and their Conqueror.
Yeah, and the thing that I was going to say before the replay, Ardent Sensor on the Karma is so powerful for Xin Zhao, for Kog'Maw, for Gwen, and he's able to apply it to everyone all at once with the mantra Inspire. Super, super effective teamfight itemization here coming out from Abadage. I love to see it, and we're going to see this game continue to move forward with 100 Thieves having that about 3,000 gold lead. You can see Baron now on the map. We are just about 21 minutes in here, so still very risky unless you're just coming off the back of a big teamfight win here for either squad.
I really do like, again, we talked about it in the opening, but 100 Thieves sticking to their guns, sticking to their research on the meta. People are still figuring out the meta, as it is established in the LCS, and they have invested so heavily in supportive mid, carry junglers, but now they've got carries all over the map, Flowers, and those carries are fed.
Okay, Someday's going in, trying to use the invulnerability here, but a nice use of stopwatch guarantees he's not dead. The rest of Dignitas now trying to file out, but with Someday having already used his ulti, having already used that longer cooldown for the W, 100 Thieves do not want to continue the chase in what is essentially a 4v5, so they clear the wave and back away.
Yeah, Someday does have teleport.
Someday's ready to come back now. They continue to move forward. FBI is able to apply the red buff autos as Closer zones away the rest of the team. Closer might be a little bit far forward, or is he? Continuing to have the presence here from the Crescent sweep, keeping him alive. The shield comes through. Closer with the flash over the wall to make sure he stays safe. Now they're going to force the flash out of Fake God as well, and it's 100 Thieves who are continuing to be the better team fighter.
That's the great thing about playing Xin Zhao in competitive. Your teammates always got your back in the comms. I got you with the Karma shield. I got you. Keep going forward.
It looked dicey there for a second, but it was not when you're able to count on Abadage to be there for the support, and 100 Thieves will march on to the Baron now. There are still 4 men alive on the side of Dignitas. Do they want to go here? Can they even get here in time?
Well, they're here in time, but can they do anything about it? 100 Thieves on this Baron. That thing is...
Oh no, Dardoch might just be your target here again. FBI popping the clans. FBI's ready to go. Fake God had to flash to get away last time, and now he's gonna die. Wind becomes lightning, means Saligo's gonna be locked down as well. Double kill back over to Dogmaw, and there comes another potential kill. Dardoch tried to fight Someday. Sorry, buddy, that champion was made years ago, and this one's brand new.
Meanwhile, with that Baron buff.
Oh, nice shot. The shutdown for Neo there to at least stop a little bit of the 100 Thieves war machine.
Able to get in there for the snipe onto Someday. The W was still down for Someday after his fight previously, so Neo jumps in and cuts that one a little bit short. Here's another look, though. And you know what? I already know what the end game tweets from the 100 Thieves players are going to be.
I hope they're spicy.
Karma good. All caps, Karma good. Because they have carries in all the other positions. Jungle, top, bottom carries that all greatly accelerate.
This was so greedy.
This
is so greedy. He wins with 100 HP. The bleed fades away. He's like, whoa, I survived. All right, let's just take one more wave. And then Neo shows up just in time to punish that a little bit.
It is a big shutdown as well.
Yeah, it means a lot.
So honestly, Dignitas going to get cut down once again here, though. Does look like he breaks the tether. Dardoch will live to walk away. And yet, even with the recalls here, it's going to be hard for them to defend these towers. Baron buff's still on for another minute and a half for 100 Thieves, so they should be able to make their way all the way up towards those inhibitor towers.
That might have been a minion block from the tiny Krugs that stopped that tether from applying because it looked so very close. 100 Thieves now pushing up towards this tier 2. Easily can take that one for themselves. Turret count now 6-1, Kobe. This is a big reason that there is now an 8,000 gold deficit in this game just 24 minutes in. Dignitas are struggling to stop this bleeding as 100 Thieves just want to turn the knife in the wound and make sure they can win this one fast. They'll continue the push here in bottom side. We've got a 4-man effort. Someday now looking to rotate down here too, just in case Dignitas look for the engage there. They use 2 big ultis in Equalizer and that solar flare. True Shot Barrage won't find anyone, and the pressure continues.
Yeah, it looks so funny. Every game where we have Rumble versus Karma, and late game, these Rumble ultimates go down. You see almost no damage sticking because of Karma's shield and speeds up off of those. 100 Thieves can go forward again.
Okay, 100 Thieves looking to take down the tier 3 turret, accomplish the tower dive now. Underneath they go, looking for enough damage. They take out Dardoch first. They haven't lost a single man yet. Grabbing a double kill now with Fake God finding his way into the dirt. Only Saligo and Afromu are left standing after FBI gets the kill on the enemy AD carry. I said they wanted to end this game fast, and they're going to do it within 60 seconds. 100 Thieves on to the Nexus turrets. First one's already down. Cannon Minion is still alive. Now the Baron buff wears off, so the Cannon Minion, that was actually the most well-timed Baron buff leaving ever. The Cannon Minion steps up to start tanking the turret. The Nexus is under fire, and 100 Thieves, 16-6, they make it look simple.
It went from Karma, what was that, in the first game to Karma,
What was
what
that?
was that?
Very well done from this squad. Nice stuff there, rising up to 13-8 in the standings. They will now be tied with Dignitas right up there near the top.
Honestly, though, I do love it when teams and coaching staff and players trust themselves on these things.
Yeah.
Because you can really see how it is setting all of the other players up for success. Now, turning away from that, I don't think Gwen should be thrown around lightly like this.
I don't think you can ever let it go on Blue 1 if it's up.
It's actually, yeah. Honestly, though, it was not being picked up and first picked on Blue 1. It's the biggest thing to me because, okay, if you're giving it away, maybe you have crafted something where, on the backside, you can get 2 super highly prioritized things, but then, investing the first pick there on blue side into Rumble and not giving Gwen the respect there, that being added with the multiplicative power there of Karma and the other carries with your Xin Zhao carry for jungle, with your Kog'Maw on bottom side, just really, really strong, mid and late game setup there for 100 Thieves. And definitely fun to watch here. Every Dig game, the beginning is just action-packed. We've got role swaps. We've got, Darius moving into the jungle right after Dardoch had this crazy Rumble game. It's funny because in the interview afterwards, Dardoch 2 was talking about how previously, Fake God is like, I'm going to take Rumble. I'm going to take Rumble.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, yeah, and the draft just worked out that I got it. And then he has this big performance on it. You're like, okay, Fake God, you can have it this time around. But 100 Thieves with the better answers.
Yeah, 100 Thieves making this Xin Zhao in the jungle, Karma in the mid lane work. I wonder how many more times they're going to win on it before a team is like, okay, we got to break this up. We've got to ban at least one of these out.
You know what happens if Karma gets banned out? Lulu.
Oh, no.
There's more shields.
There is always another, my friend. There is always another one ready to go. But this was a very, very fun match to see early on. Like I said, I loved seeing the 6 kills at 3 minutes. Yeah. I love the fact that they kept it up and kept trying to answer one another. We didn't see any of that just clear the camps, jungle pathing. Good game.
And it's also enjoyable when there are so many, volatile matchups.
Yes.
So those are the ones that you like to see, really creating that conflict.
Yeah, having top laners like Rumble versus Gwen is better because some guy's not just going to sit there and build a Bramble Vest into a Bomby Cinder Mythic and be like, all right, boys, I'll see you at 25 minutes. Nope, we get to see some real team fighting power between these guys, and it makes it so much fun to watch, and I hope we just get more of those throughout this. I mean, the teams are playing a triple round robin now here in summer. They're going to be having a lot of times to get back at each other, and I just want to see more creativity. I want to see teams doing what 100 Thieves is doing, like you already talked about. They're saying, hey, here's our read on the meta. Here's how we want to play the game. No more of that copycat stuff. Don't just play whatever you think somebody else is doing best. Play your game, and 100 Thieves are winning with it.
It's always fun, too, to hypothesize, what are going to be the after effects of these initial changes. If supportive mid and carry jungle starts to become prominent, and the shielding and healing and speed up, it starts to be the beginning of the story, where our knowledge tree goes. But let's get ready here. We're going to head it over to pastry time and Someday for our Verizon post-game interview.
Thanks, Kobe. I'm here with Someday after another victory here for 100 Thieves. Someday, you got Gwen. Tell me about Gwen. This champion seems very good.
Yeah, I think it's really strong in general, especially against melee champion, and I really like playing Gwen. Yeah.
What do you think specifically about the matchup into Rumble?
Honestly, it was first time to me, and after like 2 kill bot TP, and he didn't even walk up to me because he was scared to get one shot. So it was kind of free in lane, I think.
Did it feel good in that game to be as powerful as you were?
Yeah,
Because you had
because
so many kills.
I just come in and then they cannot touch me, and then I killed everyone.
And then kind of stepping back a bit, talking about your new team, what is it like being back in summer, but also having a new teammate?
It's really nice to be back on stage, and then I'm kind of exciting to like after playing stage. I mean, the first stage game was kind of rough, but we will probably improve a lot.
And then last question, you also have a new coach. What do you think of your new coach?
I think he's really good at coaching, especially we need kind of control because we're really like free style, play style, and like personality. So I think he really control well us.
Well, that's great. Somebody, thank you so much for talking to me. It's a pop-off game there for Gwen. We're going to go to a quick commercial, but don't go too far. The LCS is coming right back.
They've got to get the Mountain Drake here if they want to have any chance of being able to salvage this game, but no! It's stolen away at the last moment with a beautiful smite to end this game. GG, well played!
Can't stop, won't stop till we on top. Quit, I think not. Coming hot for the #1 spot, yeah. No key, got the game on lock, ayy. Big threes when I take my shot, ayy. On the rise and we ain't gon' drop. On the grind, it's our time, just watch. If you want it, you can get it. Life gets hard, but don't you let it get you down. Go get the crown because our time is now. Ayy, we gotta get it. Gotta get up, gotta go, we gotta get it. Ayy, they won't forget us. Made it happen and we all became legends. We gotta get it, gotta get it, gotta get it. We gotta get it, gotta get it, gotta get it. We gotta get it, gotta get it, gotta get it. We gotta get it. We can't be contained when we leave the game. My name will remain. We don't need the fame. You can keep this chain. We broke free so things won't be the same. Nah, on the mission, gotta get it. Let's work. We were raised on the net. I'm raising my net worth, but it ain't about the money. Nah, it ain't about the cause. All that matters is the world knows who we are. Stars. If you want it, you can get it. Life gets hard, but don't you let it get you down. Go get the crown because our time is now. Hey, we gotta get it. Gotta get up, gotta go, we gotta get it. Hey, they won't forget us. Made it happen and we all became legends. We gotta get it, gotta get it, gotta get it. We gotta get it, gotta get it, gotta get it. We gotta get it, gotta get it, gotta get it. We gotta get it. Know that our time is now. Yes, life can get hard, but don't ever let it keep you down. See, we are all kings and queens and we all deserve crowns. So don't wait. Get up, go out and get it. Now. Hey, we gotta get it. Gotta get up, gotta go, we gotta get it. Hey, they won't forget us. Made it happen and we all became legends. We gotta get it, gotta get it, gotta get it. We gotta get it, gotta get it, gotta get it. We gotta get it, gotta get it, gotta get it. We gotta get it. We gotta get it. Gotta get it, gotta get it. We gotta get it. Gotta get it, gotta get it, get it.
Welcome back to the final day of our LCS Summer Kickoff. We just wrapped up our first game between Dignitas and 100 Thieves, and it was 100 Thieves that came out on top. One thing, though, that is for sure, we got exactly what we wanted when it came to the, different things we saw from the drafting phase. Some champions making their appearance for the day.
Yeah, and we went from karma to karma, right? Like 100 Thieves, every single game they've drafted this pick, but I think they've gotten better at drafting around it. First game they picked Udyr, didn't work out too well. Okay, we're gonna throw in Xin. Xin did work out. But we're like, what happens if we don't do well early game? Okay, we'll throw Kog'Maw in there. And for this particular game, I think this comp was really strong because they were drafting into a melee jungler like Darius, who's gonna have a lot of problems if he can't get snowballing early. So I really, really like this draft from 100 Thieves.
Yeah, and I love that, Flowers pointing out within the game that it's super easy for Karma to itemize Ardent Sensor in this specific instance. Because in the previous games, especially game 1, really, you have low damage, you have an Ezreal, so like, okay, what's your first support item going to be? Like that, Staff is Flowing Water, you really didn't have much, but in this game, you literally have 3 champions that benefit off of it instantly, so great itemizing on that one. Picking it to Gwen. I've seen a few AP champions go into it. This one, I swear it's better than what it looks like for the Rumble matchup. Literally, the Gwen started 2 kills off the bot lane, so like, this is not a good indicator. Akali is another great one. I've seen a little bit of that one. So, like, I'm interested to see more teams kind of, like, challenge the pick a little bit more, but this is not the greatest indicator.
Try some ranged into Gwen. She has some issues into ranged top lanes and focus her. She's not very safe on her own. In my experience when playing Gwen, melee matchups are good. She does so much damage, but when you fight a ranged champion, you don't have that much that you can really do against them, so...
But who cares about the matchup when you are bringing that action that Gwen can provide elsewhere on the map?
Yeah, the bot lane was pretty tragic. This is a back-to-back gank coming in from Dignitas towards the bottom lane. It started out great, but, second time around, the 100 Thieves were ready for it with the TP that came through. Now, Rumble came in a little bit afterwards, but when he flashed in, didn't have an exit strategy, Gwen was able to get, the first 2 kills off this one. And when you go back in the lane, like Someday said in the interview, you don't want to ever touch that Gwen at that point.
Yeah, one shot.
Yeah.
She has 2 kills. You don't have defenses. What are you going to do?
That's the difficulty.
For a while, we were getting exactly what we expected from this game. That scrappiness, lots of kills, some picks here or there. But around that 13-minute mark, that's where we really, truly saw that power for 100 Thieves.
Right. Up until this point, I loved everything Dignitas did. They did a lane swap where they got the Herald, got the first top turret, and they have Rumble bot lane so you can ulti the wave and just get all the experience. However, this is one of the situations where like, hey, they gave me some fruit, let's take some more food, let's get the entire thing. We're taking their entire family, and then they get punished for it. Had they just backed off after the tower, maybe 1 camp or 2, they would have been super ahead in this trade, but greed gets the better of people,
And Braum in the watchtower, checking on any of the invaders, saw it and then threw in the ultimate, started the fight. And we were talking about how Gwen got the first 2 kills bot side. Now she's hyper accelerated after what happened in the top lane, started out the game with 5 kills. So that was really damaging to Dignitas' chances.
Type top diff in all chat.
Nardoc
probably type top diff in all chat right there, right?
No one wants to play against that. 5-0 Gwen, get that out of here.
And the hands that we have known Dignitas to have in the team fight situations in the past, when you're facing off against a Karma that was doing them Karma things that we're liking to see for the team, it was tough.
Yeah, and here we really saw the strength of the comp because in these long, extended chase down scenarios, you could really see the Karma pick thrive, providing so much shielding and move speed to Xin so you can continually engage. And you can see here, Dig, they want to disengage from the fight, but it's not up to them. So from here, the advantage is firmly in 100 Thieves' favor. They can go take Baron at their will and continue to chase Dig down after that fact. So here we see that this team is really, really drilled with this Karma and they understand the team comp strengths.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like the old school double AD carries of the Braum composition where it's basically just whoever you end up tagging, just run them down. In this case, they had a Karma support with the Mantra Shield like you talk about, but also the support mythic item being able to increase like the movement speed boost. So sure, you thrive if they come into the Kog'Maw Braum and Karma. So like the kite back is insane. Dignitas didn't want to do that. But also, as you mentioned, like chase you down multiple times throughout this game. It's rough. If you fall far behind in this game and you're in Dignitas' position, you really don't have much you can fight for.
Yeah. And we saw Someday talk in the interview about how he really likes Reaper coaching. And one of the things we were concerned about last split was 100 Thieves didn't seem to have a style or an identity. And this is not the style that people expected, but it's a damn good style for them to start the split. And I imagine that when Karma eventually gets removed as an option from the pool, they're still gonna have other options deeper down.
I feel like as a mid laner, though, I would never be like, yo, ban Karma for me. It's such an easy lane to play versus, but I think you just need to draft into it better. I don't think their poke comp into Karma, Kog'Maw is very good, so.
We just saw this tweet about Dardog versus Darius.
Yeah.
You never want to see Darius win. I was just thinking when it comes to this game, though, while it was a loss on the Dignitas side, and obviously 100 Thieves have a lot to be happy about now securing 2 wins in a row, when you're a Dardog fan, it feels like you can still be happy just with the fact that the pool is continuing to be shifted up. I saw so much Twitter action that we're just having so much fun watching it.
Yeah, the pool's ever growing. I know he talked about it within his own interview about the fact that he's just kind of trying to excel within his own role and being a master of, many champions in that one as well. And I think what's also a conversation, especially throughout the split wide, are flex champions, right? Even the casters going into the game fully expected it to be a Darius top lane into Gwen. A lot of people would have. But there are so many champions that can flex that are normal. Like the Gwen pick is not even just the fact that she's strong individually, but that she can go into 3 positions. The Darius, and at least for Dignitas specifically, is a top lane flex as well as for the jungle. So it's something that we have to track, because if you're a red side, it feels really hard going into blue side, blue compositions that are flexing multiple champions in the first phase.
There's got to be a limit to the amount of jungle champions that are viable and good at the same time, right? You can play any champion in the jungle and clear the forest and do ganks fine, but there are definitely champions that are stronger than others. I wonder if he's going to stop somewhere or he just wants to keep trying every one. Maybe it's just like his persona or something at this time, but there's got to be like a hard limit, right? Where some character just isn't as good as the other ones.
Well, the thing is, Hai, I think if you're a Dignitas fan, there's just no downside. Because if you lose, it's a jungle A to Z challenge, it's big dig energy.
Okay. That is
it's
good content.
We're still the underdog. And if you win, great, we're winning. So overall, I think it's a win-win.
And Dardog's the man that kicked off the week by bringing Lee Sin into the jungle, despite him being more in the solo lanes at this point in time. So very much in trend with what we are going to be seeing. But before we go to break, I want to shout out Roccat, the peripherals partner of the LCS. If you're in the market for gaming peripherals, be sure to check out their new Cone mouse and Vulcan keyboard. Stay tuned after the break for Evil Geniuses versus Black Quest.